Hey, everybody. I'm Mike.
I'm Bob.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Welcome to a very special of Whiskey Wednesday. Because Andrew Stiles is here. It is Wino Wednesday.
Oh,
We're gonna class the join up with Andrew Stiles in the house. Andrew, it is always great to have you on. How we doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. And this time I'm doing mezcal. So we're doing a little mezcal Wednesday instead. Feeling a little smokies when I'm feeling it.
Wow.
I like that you put Mike on blast for calling you a wino by immediately switching it over to mezcal.
I am a wino. I get it. It's fine. I'm totally okay with it.
I almost wore a tie because Andrew always classes the place up when he shows up, so I didn't want to use the dress.
Yeah,
that's right.
But I do know how to pivot. I'm not a one category guy. You got to be able to do multiple things.
He is a Renaissance man.
Renaissance man. That's right.
Nice. What are you guys drinking tonight?
Burnt orange bourbon.
Oh, the Bullocks.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's actually pretty good.
I got a staple in gigantic form. I got just a good old Evan Williams from Bardstown, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to drink the bottom shelf, Evan Williams is probably the best of the bottom shelf.
It is the best of the bottom shelf.
It is the best of the bottom shelf. I was looking for like a really nice bottle and then wasn't really like having much luck. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I haven't had a Evan Williams in a while. So my hand went away from the Wild Turkey and then went over to the Evan Williams. So
I feel like Tim probably has a hard time reaching the top shelf.
That's what it is. Yeah. What I highly recommend is if you find it, a few extra dollars, get the white label bottled in bond. Much better than the basic. I'm a huge fan of the single barrel. I don't know if there's much better under $30. So this is the first bottle I've bought in nearly 3 months, and I've got some Old Forester 1920.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of this in the 1897. This one has more of a sweet back end. It is delicious.
That's what we call Bob, is our sweet back end.
Sweet back.
I got some cake and it's delicious.
So what kind of mezcal are you drinking there?
500 conejos, which means 500 rabbits.
All right.
So, yeah.
Oh.
I didn't bring the bottle. It's in the kitchen, but
we'll take your word for it.
I mix it with a little bit of mango and a little bit of Diet Squirt, and it's delicious.
That sounds amazing.
I love me some mango.
Confession, I don't know that I've even had mezcal.
Oh.
So
you are missing out.
But think of smokier and more complex.
Sold.
Yep.
Now, did your mezcal have the worm?
No, this one comes without the worm, but it's also kind of like yours. I went to the closer to the bottom than the top. I didn't go for the super high end mezcal on this one.
Yeah, that's all right.
I agree. Riddle me this. Smoky is always better.
He said, that looks like Josh. I think I figured it out. Is that Josh? It does say JB at the end. That's Josh.
Oh, yeah.
I see the picture. It's clearly Josh.
That's a man
who knows a while to figure that out. Sorry, folks. For a few months back, StreamYard doesn't show us your names. It shows us your username, which, as you guys all know, is not always your name. So sometimes we're still guessing who you are. So.
It messes us up for sure.
Yeah. Our regulars we see. I'm just now figuring out that's Josh, and now I'm embarrassed about it.
So. I'm not.
Well, for those who don't know, Josh is my co-host on the Tabletop Submarine.
Yeah.
And we are as of a couple months ago, we are over 100 episodes.
Hey,
nice. I know you guys
is no small feat.
More than 100 episodes at this point. You're probably closer to 400 or something like that. But that's a big difference. That's a big deal for us.
No, that's
it's
a lot of work.
2% of those episodes are at least pretty okay, you know.
The ones that only Josh is doing, those are the good ones. Yeah.
Well, we showed up. Didn't you guys split our episode into 2 episodes?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of content, so we had to split up into 2.
Well, Tim.
I mean, that's what happens when you get the talkers in, you know, and me.
Not only that, but usually it's one guest, and when you have 3, you get 3 times the content, right? So it only makes sense to split that up.
Nice. I have the
Supporting the
link to their
co-captain.
podcast on Podbean in the description. Go check it out. Lots of fun stories to be heard on their podcast.
And I
And
know
Skip.
podcasts are very rare these days, so I'm on a second one too, in case you need to hear me more often. And that is Dice Camera Action, the podcast where we pair movies and board games together and talk about both.
I am supremely jealous.
Tim
We'll
would
have to have you on as a guest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Tim would
You
be
thought I
terrible
could
at
talk. You thought I could talk. You get me into movies, man, and we're going. I am a cinema fanatic, a cinephile, if you will.
All right, so when we finish our top 5 list, we might have to throw a little Oscar talk in there then.
Okay.
that. Uh-oh.
I like the Spiel des Jahres. I'm a grumpy old Gen Xer when I hear Oscar talk, and I'm usually like, they always pick the wrong one. But I am.
Because it's true. They usually do. Especially if you look over time, right? If you go back like even 10 years and go, who won 10 years ago?
Well,
you're
yeah,
always
like Pulp Fiction losing to
second or
Forrest Gump.
third is probably a better movie.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction losing to Forrest Gump is one of the greatest crimes in 1994.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's terrible.
There are lots of crimes in the Oscar thing. Starting
Absolutely.
with way back, how green is my valley, right? Like that was one of the biggest.
Oh, you are going back. That is.
debacles. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a movie that no one has ever seen since then, you know.
It was actually on Turner Classic Movies the other day, and I recorded it. So I'm like, eventually, I'm actually going to see it just to see exactly how bad and how big a discrepancy there is between the two.
Yeah.
So Andrew, you've been a busy man. I know you've got several games that are coming out this year, but also you were featured on Amanda Panda's podcast here,
Yeah,
which
that's
gets
the Board Game Geek podcast, and it's one I've been trying to be on for a while now. I know it's not one of the ones that's been running for a really long time or whatever not, but anything involved with BGG, you got to try to get in there and do. And we talked about a lot of things. We talked about games we take everywhere we go. So we talked about games that are easy to travel with and things you can show to people. But we also talked about dealing with publishers. And so I only have a little bit of experience, but I feel like I have a breadth of experience. I've talked to a large number of publishers and had good conversations. And I've got some tips in there on how to approach them for those who haven't done it yet.
nice.
I think that is so. That is something that is so overlooked as far as like something you may need as like a skill. As I think people get excited about making a game. They come up with their game and then they just go to Kickstarter. Or like they just have no idea how to even get started beyond that point.
Yeah.
And maybe not even considering that pitching games is an option. But if it is, how do you do it? So yeah, I love and really appreciate. It's one of those things about you, man, and some of our mutual friends where you guys are all so supportive in trying to help, build up and educate and just raise up those around you. You know what I mean? By sharing that information, letting people kind of learn from, not only your mistakes, but just some of the pitfalls that you've gone through, the highs and the lows. It's just invaluable information.
Yeah, and also a lot of people don't realize there's a completely different skill set there, right? Like the ability to make a game is one skill set. And then the way to make a game look good is a completely different skill set, right? And then you're going to talk about logistics and all sorts of other things. It's a completely different skill set. And then once you've got the game, you got to sell it. Well, that's another skill set. Mm-hmm. So for those people who don't have all those different skill sets, if you can make the game, then let's just do one other skill set, which is sell it to a publisher. Because the publisher will handle everything from that part forward. So I'm not saying it's for everybody. And in fact, you could probably make more money off of your own design by doing Kickstarter, right? But then you also take on 2 full-time jobs. And is that worth it for you for that? And for me,
right.
I like a publisher who has expertise already there, who has a network of things already laid in the pipeline, who has connection to artists and graphic designers, and usually has some developers in there, people who are experts in how make their portfolio better. And even though the game is mine, I never think that my game is perfect as it is. It can always be improved in some small way, especially if it gets improved in a way that more people buy it and more people get a chance to try it and more people play it. Because the reason I make games is to make joy in the world. And if only a few people get to experience it, I'm not making that much joy. I want to make a ton of joy for a lot of people.
What a horrible thing to want for the world.
Yeah, I know, right?
Plus, by handing it off to a publisher, it kind of lightens the load for you as the designer, right? Because, I mean, just because you've designed a game, it doesn't mean that you have the necessary business experience or the graphic design experience or the myriad of other youthful knowledge that you may need to successfully launch your game.
Yeah, and on top of that, I want to make more games, right? So by handing off to a publisher, I may go in and help them with development or go in to make some tweaks or say they want to make a change, I'll make that change. But I'm minimally going to be involved that doesn't involve some changes, right? But I am going to be able to spend my time now working on the next game and the one after that instead of just being all about this game for the next 2 years.
Yeah, well, you know what you want. You come in with a plan. You know what you want, and there's nothing wrong with somebody wanting to just live in that one game and continue to develop and build that one game. That's fantastic, but it's also know thyself, right? And it's just that's a huge advantage to be in a situation where you're like, hey, you know what, like, take it, run with it, because I'm really ready to be on to the next one, and. You're not letting yourself get bogged down. You get those babies out of the nest and then you let them fly.
And just like when you get them out of the nest, right, and they develop for a little while, then you get to see them as adults. You get to see them when they're all grown up and they're all pretty and they've handled their business and they're now professional, right? And
That's
I
right.
can revisit them. I get to go visit them again. Now they're professionally done. And I'm like, oh, I did love this game. I still love this game. This is great. But I got a little break too. I got like a year and a half of like separation. They went off to the first year of college.
Right.
Off the couch. Go.
Before, right?
See you in a bit.
Do you I have to imagine it never gets old when people are sending and sharing pictures of like wine cellar in the wild, right? I mean, that's got to feel great every time.
Oh, absolutely. I will never get tired of it because, like I said, I just want to put something that I created into the hands of people that they're going to enjoy, right? And if you don't enjoy Wine Cellar, so be it. It's not for you. I know every game is not for every person, right?
That's right.
But I also know that there is an audience for it, and I want them to have it. And hopefully, I can find a whole bunch of other audiences. For instance, some of my other games that are coming out this year are totally different than Wine Cellar. They're nothing close to it, right?
I mean, 3 Tricky Pigs is like a really
Totally
easy
different.
example. Totally different, feels different. You would never, like, just on a, just playing a game of that. If you played that at Wine Cellar back to back, but people didn't know or pay attention to the designer, they would never know that was the same person,
Right.
behind both designs or, contributing to both designs. And, so, yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, it's great if you got like a signature style, like, oh, this is my heavy Lacerda, let's go. And that's what he makes. But it's great to be all around. Hey, somebody loves
for me, I'm still trying to find my voice in the board game world. Now I have preferences, lots of preferences, right? And so I'm kind of working and tweaking those things. But at least for the first couple of years, I made it a point to say, okay, let's build this type of game and let's build this type of game. And it's almost like if you decide you want to be an artist, but you can't decide if you want to be watercolor artist or a sculpturist, or you want to try your hand at, oils, or you want to try your hand at drawing or photography. You should just try a little bit of everything and see what works out for you. I'm still kind of in my experimental stages. I've only been doing this for about 3 years now.
Man, you wouldn't know, man. And I mean that as a compliment. Like I mean, Wine Cellar, when we played Wine Cellar, that felt so polished, so ready. Even when we played 3 Tricky Pigs in prototype form, I mean, it was like, nope. I mean, this is a game, like really, like, so in my experience with trying out your stuff, it's like, I mean, you get there, we don't see all the work you put in to get you there. Yeah. But when you put it down in front of us, it's like, damn, dude, like, so to have some of those projects done in, just 3 years, it's like, oh, all right. Because, I mean, we all know people that have worked on one game for 3 years, and
I think if you jump in with both feet and you really invest the time and energy, and the other thing too is I had to network crazy hard, like really try to get to know a ton of different designers so that I can have the best possible playtesters. Right.
Oh,
so
sure.
I think I spent the first year just playtesting everybody I could get a hold of and getting future favors, right? Like just kind of reaching out there, testing everything that was out there, not only to find the landscape, right? Find out where the things that are being developed are, where the things are coming up are, kind of find out where the trends are. But then also for future favors, when I'm ready for my stuff, I can reach out to any one of those people and be like, hey, I'm ready for that reciprocation. And so whenever possible, go ahead and do kindness out in the world first before you start asking for things.
Yeah. Yeah. It goes a long way, man. It goes a long way.
Andrew, let's talk about what you have in the pipeline. Of course, some of us got a chance to play Digging for Dinos, which will be published by Third World Studios. But I'm just now hearing about Garden Club that's going to be published by Chris Couch Games.
Yeah, Chris Couch is known for Holiday Hills and Jingle Bell Roll. He did kind of more of a Christmas theme across the board. But this is a co-design with Kristen Mott and I, and this one is a cozy competitive gardening game.
Ooh.
So you are laying tiles or cards that have 4 corners on them. You're trying to match stuff up while trying to decipher what your opponent wants and not give them that. So you're trying to set up different patterns of different flowers. You're trying to harvest different fruits and vegetables, but you're also trying to make sure those fruits and vegetables actually populate. And in order to populate, they have to have adjacency. So if you can pull up visuals at some point, I know you're still working on it, but yeah, if you look at the board there, you see how the tiles have a flower in the middle and then 4 around the outside of either vegetables or fruits, right? So you want to try to get likes next to likes. So if I can get strawberries next to other strawberries, then that's worth 1 strawberry. It's not worth anything by itself. So you got to get pairs. And then there's also these things in the game where you have tools, and you can have pergolas, which cause it to grow upward, and you get another point for it. And you can use tools that move stuff around in the garden. And then you're going to turn in different patterns to get different points. And it's like a race around the outside as well. So once again, this is just a kind of cozy tile laying kind of game that's not angry and not harsh, but it is subterfuge. But you have to decipher what the subterfuge is in order to pull it off. So it's a little bit of the social deduction kind of thing that's going on there. There's a lot of head games in the play of it.
But you could also play it on the surface level and just,
oh yeah,
plop down those cards. But you can dig in deeper if you like.
Yes.
So you can. I like it when games kind of hide in that extra layer. David's being a smarty pants there.
Yeah.
Let's get pairs.
Nice. Well done.
Ooh, Carlos already bringing the heat with the good questions.
Yeah, he does all my research for me.
We will definitely get into that. No question.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll come back to that when we hit
So
our
there's
topic.
one other small one that goes to the Garden Club, and that's called Pedal, which is the travel version of this game. It is the small box with pretty much just cards only. So if you want a version that you can take with you, take on the go, Pedal might be the one you want to get.
Oh, there you go.
Oh wow! So that's pedal as in flower, not pedal as in to the metal.
To the metal.
Right, not to the metal. But yeah, and that one has a box. You can see that one too.
Nice.
You can make a magnetic version, call it pedal with some metal, and then you can actually play travel wise.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
It sounds like you're trying to peddle a copy of Pedal on our show here, Andrew.
Bob, just for you, I'm going to go ahead and put magnets on my copy and play on the fridge.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
I mean, he's an instant backer if you got a dual layer board.
It's for sure.
And this is going to be on Kickstarter end of March. So the idea also is to deliver this by the end of the year. This is not going to be a Kickstarter. You have to wait 2 years while they actually finish the development and get things done and get the art. The artwork is there. All the preliminaries are there. We're already talking to the manufacturer, stuff like that. So
nice. Quick turnaround.
It's going to get done and get made. It's just a matter of how many copies.
Nice.
And that's Chris Couch as well. Nice.
So I had the opportunity, I believe it was at Gen Con, to play Digging for Dinos. What do you have an estimated ETA for that one? Because that was pretty good.
Yeah, I wish I could say. Let's just say it's very, very soon. I wish I could give a launch date, but that has not been finalized.
Is it going to do Kickstarter? Are they going to do Kickstarter?
No, it's going to go right to retail.
Okay.
It's just coming out.
Nice.
That's all right.
Yeah. Right.
And then I have 2 more, which I can't talk too much about. But one of them is going to be an IP game. So it's going to have an IP on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming out by Maestro Media, but it has not been announced yet. So I can't say more than that.
Okay.
And then I also have a game with Grand Gamers Guild coming out later this year. But once again, that's not been announced. So I can't talk about that one either. But that's 5 games this year. I'm really excited about having.
Man, save some for everybody else. Golly.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nah, keep going.
Give us a clue as to the IP.
I cannot.
Bob.
I figured that.
Asking.
If only you would stop lollygagging and actually get some games under your
Yeah, geez. We're waiting.
Yeah.
We keep hearing what a great designer he is, but we haven't seen nothing.
Right.
We're excited to check them out. Both the games we've played of yours have been awesome, and I put them in my bag all the time, so I can't wait to check these out.
So he left Digging for Dinos out on purpose.
I haven't played that one yet.
You didn't play that with us at Gen Con?
All right,
No,
so
I was over there
played
playing Cattywampus with Tony's group.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
But Digging for Dinos is a tactical set collection game that I designed for kids to play with adults, and the adults won't get bored.
Yeah.
So this one is you fight in a phone booth. You are paleontologists digging at a dig site, and you are trying to get the bones that you want and not let your opponents get the bones that they want. And so it's a little bit of a hate drafting kind of set collection game. And the twist of this is that your paleontologists, as they're digging up the dinos, on top is the direction they can move next. So it's either orthogonal or diagonal. And whenever they move, if they move orthogonally, they flip over to the other side. So now they have to move diagonally next. And if they move diagonally, then they flip over and they have to move orthogonally next. So to move across the board is kind of a little bit of a puzzle to get there.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was super interesting.
Cool.
And then
Can't
all the
wait to
dinos
check
have like
these
the
out.
different types of like layouts, right? Like the 6 or the 5 or depending.
And
on
it's
the
just
shape
so
the
satisfying
dino
to
is.
finish that skeleton. It really is to be able to see the dino there in full blur.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Until somebody takes the piece you need. Yes.
Well, that never happens.
That's the
theme I
prototype.
really
that's
like.
that's what I made with my crappy graphic design
Yeah.
skills. And look what they turned it into. So much
Beautiful.
better.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's a theme I really like. I mean, who doesn't like dinosaurs, right?
I mean,
Yeah, right.
I'm working on 2 more dinosaur games as we're speaking. So yeah, I got more
Wow.
dinos in the hedge.
They're waiting. They're lurking. Like velociraptors
What he's saying
waiting
is
to
he's
strike.
got another tab open and he's play testing it on TTS as we speak. So
By the way, I just realized that David Godfrey wrote earlier, what movie lost to How Green Was My Valley? And that's Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane, Maltese Falcon was also a great one. I mean, Citizen Kane should have beat all of them, but Citizen
Just for
Kane's the
craftsmanship
big one.
alone. I mean, it may not hold up to today's standards, but by those standards in that day, the craftsmanship was just amazing.
Well, How Green Is Your Valley or whatever is not studied in film school like Citizen
Nope.
Kane.
It's not.
There's a reason.
Andrew, the 2 Chris Couch games are going to Kickstarter, correct? Isn't that launching
Yes.
in March?
Yep.
Nice.
He did say that.
Okay. I was also just making sure we had the answers for the questions in the chat.
Oh, yeah, because they will come.
Maybe we should reach out to Chris and see if we can get a copy to preview. What's
Let's
up,
just have him
Mike?
back on the show
Oh, there's
again. too.
Googs.
Googs.
Yeah, really.
Googs was instrumental in making Digging for Dinos happen, by the way. He was really a true champion for it. And so it is what it is because of him.
Yeah.
I will say, you could say Googs was instrumental, ... and that will just apply to like a lot of good things that have happened in the
That's
industry.
fair. It's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
Getting in his feels.
All right. Well, do we want to let's get into this? We should get into this topic and start digging in. But Bob, we
But
should
real
do something
quick.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, before we get into our topic, we should let people know that we have an awesome sponsor, Law Horde Design. They make all types of booth banners, table covers, t-shirts, web design, whatever you might need. Mike, without further ado, roll it.
Get your games noticed with help from Lawhorn Design. Eye-catching backdrops, banners, table covers, signage, and much, much more. All shipped directly to you or your next big show. Fast, reliable rush orders are always available to keep you prepared and professional. Contact Lawhorn Design today for all your creative marketing, branding, website, and event display needs.
There it is.
I like the
speaking
applause.
of
Well done.
Caddy Wumpus that Mike mentioned earlier, that's Tony. That's Lawhorn. That is his game. That is his company. So good
Yep.
people.
For sure.
David, I'm sorry. I'm trying to push through all of my crap so we can get there faster. I realize that
Right.
normally it's an hour before you get into it. I'm trying to get it like in a half hour. That's what I'm trying to go for.
There we go. Mike will be
Nice.
here in spirit while
Nice.
driving. Good call.
He's safe. Is he going to Tantrum Con? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we got to get you guys to Tantrum Con, by the way. So I
Damn.
love Tantrum Con. I think it's one of the two best small conferences in the country. I think QsCon and Tantrum Con give a run for number one, but both of those are
Nice.
spectacular. We got to get you to both of those.
Is that
Where is-
Tantrum? Is that in Carolina?
Yep,
Where's that at?
it's in Charlotte.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a great state.
Ooh.
And I'm
I
going
will
to be there.
say-
I'm going to be playing my games. Three Tricky Pigs will be there. Wine Cellar will be there. But I'm also going to be flipping tables on Friday on the main stage. So
Oh yeah,
for
I
those who are going
remember
to
they
be
did
there,
that.
you can check out me. I'm going to be flipping off against Zazu. He's a constant creator. He's a phenomenal person.
Yeah, I
But I'm
met
going to flip a
Zazu.
whole lot better than he is. It's just the way it's going to go.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. We got to get on the board, get like some bets going.
Yep.
You know,
Definitely going to
I
end
have
up
been
getting some pictures and some video of that table flip for sure. Absolutely.
nice.
I'm gonna see it in slow
That's gonna
motion
happen.
Oh, yeah.
with like Chariots of Fire playing. Dun, 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 dun.
I've been debating this. You might see a resurface of the couch, Mike.
Yeah.
Also, with the new gig, I get a lot more PTO, so it is possible that I'll show up at some of these cons that I've never been to. So that would be a lot of fun.
That's the way to do it.
Now is probably the time to go back to this great question from Carlos about the topic. How do you define multi-use cards and board games? What makes the mechanics stand out compared to more straightforward card use?
Who wants to be the analytical person who drops the knowledge?
I mean, Andrew, you're the expert, but if you don't want to do that, you want to give the more fun answer, you can do that as well. I mean, I will yield to what you want to do. Do you want to put on the professorial, hat and lay it out?
I'm not that
Gladly
smart.
defer.
But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say this. For me, multi-use cards are fun in a game because I get to make a choice even about a single component, right? Like it's not just that it's worker placement. So I can use this worker to go to any one of the locations, right? This would be like if I could use my worker to go to a different location, or I could flick it and knock you off of a location, or I could toss it into a volcano, like say in Pompeii, and that person might die, but I get a god power, right? That would make the meeple so much more fun than if it was just for placement. And so for me, that's what taking cards is. Taking cards and then giving it multiple different ways for you to use that same card. First of all, it cuts down on components, right? I don't have to have 4 cards. I can have 1 card. I don't need to have 4 decks of cards. I can have 1 deck. But on top of that, it gives me that crunch of if I use it for this, that means I cannot use it for this or that or that other thing too. So you have dwindling choices based on when you make that choice. And my favorite ones are the ones where you have to pair things together. Like for instance, if I have to pay for this card with this card, now I'm killing off not only the options from this card, but I'm killing off an entire another card to go with it. See, so that's where I think the genius of multi-use cards are. If you want to define it, I think it's just a matter of saying this card can be used for multiple different options. And there are multiple levels to that too. There are some where you can use them for 2 things. Some you can use them for 3 things. Some for you can use them up to 5 things. And there is a threshold where it gets too complicated. But for the most part, it's just more fun having options.
Agreed. I think that's well said. I mean, you could take it down to its basis level, which is just, I have this card and I can do more than one thing with it. But there's so many reasons why that is interesting and important. I think I think I'd like to think that the hobby and people's tastes have evolved now to the point where, you know, those multi-use cards I would like to be more commonplace, because it's exactly what you said. It makes that mechanic of card play, you know, or deck building, whichever way it works in the way you use it, it makes that mechanic, it just gives it another level,
Yeah.
you know, and it gives you another opportunity to just dig in and mess with it. So
like something that we played over the weekend, and I'm going to use this example because they're tiles and not cards. But like Karuba, you're playing that tile down for paths, or you're discarding that tile for moves. So you have that multiple choice of what you want to do with those.
Mhm.
I mean,
Man, I didn't
I've not
think
played
about-
1,224 games, so that's
What?
pretty cool.
That's how many multi-use cards are on card games are on BGG. I definitely would have allowed multi-use tiles, because tiles and cards are kind of used for the same purposes in a lot of games. I didn't think of Karuba at all. I do appreciate, and I didn't look at this before I went through the list of multi-use card games on BGG, but to me, the difference is what Andrew mentioned, is that the card has multiple uses, but you can only use one. And that's how BGG classifies it as well. That's the most important part. I didn't put any games where there's multiple uses on the cards and you get all of them just by having the card. To me, it's the decision you make of which thing off that card you're going to choose.
Then it's not multiple use. It's just one big powerful card. I mean,
and I'm going to push back against this a little bit, because I went through those 1,224 games, and they included some games where you get these cards and you are using them for all the things on there. It's just maybe at different times, because as I was looking through them all. So it's not necessarily a this or that.
David, I would have to disagree. Gloomhaven makes sense because you're only picking one side of the card each turn. So whatever side you choose, you don't get to use the other one. So that makes sense to me.
And
yes, and also it's used for initiative as well, and you're picking which initiative you want to go on. So it is used for multiple things. So that's my number 2. I'll pick a different one. So we could.
Although I don't really see how Pandemic is multi-use cards, but not.
Mike, how about we stop talking about games and
giant
get into
spectrum,
lists?
right? There are some cards where like you can use the card for its action, or you get a coin, right? Like that's technically multi-use, but not the way I like to think of it.
But Mike likes to get on and read all the game names, and then
So
before we can actually
I've
talk
got some
about
honorable mentions I can
games.
slide in, but if you start going through all of these, we're going to burn up all my.
Yeah, I did mention one, and then I did answer a question from the chat again, but we can ignore them from now on. That's fine.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. All right, so let's shut up and jam. We'll start with Bob's number 5.
All right. So my number 5 kind of kicks back to what Andrew was saying, how you've got these cards, but then you're using them for a resource. So you're giving up on certain cards to get access to these other cards. I'm talking about Finspan. We got to play Finspan over the weekend. I really enjoy like the resource mechanisms that game has over the other Span games. And especially that whole, how you have your hand and your discard pile, you have them all face up. And while you are spending some of those cards to put some of those fish into play, you can then get some of those fish back. You can tuck them for points behind there, and they just become like a point resource after that. But yeah, those cards are just used for a multitude of things in that game, and really enjoy that one.
And shout out to David Gordon, who's an incredible designer, by the way. Very prolific. You think I'm prolific? He's kicking it. He's kicking it higher gear than I am.
Did we meet this guy at QSCon a couple years ago?
Yes, he was one of the guys. I was fortunate enough to sit down with him, Brandon Young, and Yuval.
Yuval, yeah.
Oh, that's a powerful combo right there.
Yeah, we just sat there and just played all their prototypes. It was pretty awesome.
That's a table where sometimes you just like look around after a few minutes. You're like, what the hell am I doing at this table?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it was fun. We'd play a couple of rounds of a game, then we'd stop and like, hey, let's change this rule. Okay, now we'll play a few more rounds of that game. Then we changed another rule and play. It was a blast. Oh, and I believe Reed was there as well because we played as Dice Chucker.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played the Bloody End, so I don't know how that.
I have heard good things, and yes, it qualifies. I just don't know it personally either.
I'll just say keep mentioning games that may or may not be on my list.
Yeah, right.
I was debating whether Fence Span would count. I ultimately just left it off my list.
I kind of forgot that
another-
Finspan
I put it on
counted.
mine.
We got another banger question from
That's a
Carlos
great
here. How do
question.
multi-use cards create the painful decisions? Is it mostly about opportunity cost, or do timing and hand management play a bigger role?
For me, yes. In the better games, it does create not only opportunity cost, but also cards are better early or cards are better late, right? And somewhere in the middle, you got to decide whether it's better than the other option. Also, yeah, I think it should matter how many cards you have in hand or how many other good cards you have to play off of. In my future picks, you're going to find a couple games where that definitely takes place.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that anytime you've got mechanics where, the timing is really important with card play, and then, and those decisions, sometimes the choice is obvious and it's really easy. Tim Span. Whoop, whoop. That's right. Thank you, Trevor. All those things are accurate.
Trevor gets it.
So anyway, speaking of hipster, my number 5, I'm just going to go with the most obvious, like, great grandfather of these multi-use card games. And I'm going to go Glory to Rome.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
This was kind of the one that started it. And what's crazy is that I bought this clamshell ugly version of Glory to Rome back in like 2015, got it dirt cheap. It was earlier in my gaming hobby, and everybody, that's the one. And everybody's at the time, like, even in the instructions, it's like, this game's very difficult to learn. Like, get somebody to teach it to you, and all this stuff. And then finally, by the time I played it, just in like the last year or two, I'm like, this makes perfect sense. Like, this is not hard to learn at all. You're just. But back then, when that game came out, like, that concept was so foreign of, well, I'm going to actually tuck the card and I'm going to use it for this, I'm going to spend it for resources. No, I'm actually going to build this building, and all these things. But man, the decision-making is great. Even on the ugly version. It's super fun. It's really interesting. It's dated now, like, I guess some people could see it as a little bit of like homework, but for me, it's a solid game. I'm glad I've got it, but there are definitely more updated and better versions of this. But this is the one kind of that really started it, but it's like Dominion for deck building, except more fun than Dominion. And I will pass my turn to Andrew.
So my number 5 is a cousin to this one, and that is Innovation.
Oh, right on.
Innovation is a smoother gameplay for more entry-level gamers, right? Like, there's a lot less frustration when I'm playing Innovation than I'm playing Glory to Rome. And I'm not saying that makes Glory to Rome a lesser game. It just makes it more accessible.
Yep.
I have a hard time playing Glory to Rome if I don't get things to fall my way, and I can feel like I can dig a hole accidentally and then be stuck in it for a while. Whereas Innovation, it's very difficult to get something done that wasn't your own fault. Like, you made choices, and the choices led you to someplace.
I think Glory to Rome is just being an older game. They didn't have that stuff designed out of it because it wasn't a problem for people. Where Innovation innovated a good mechanic.
Yeah. Now, I don't love Innovation, but I had to put this in the list for paying homage, right? Like, this is the Citizen Kane for me.
That's right.
It's an old school game that people can still get a hold of. It just had its anniversary edition, so it's got a new version out. And it's got a ton of expansions. It's very replayable. But this is where, once again, you play it by playing on top. You play to the left. You play to the right. You play to the bottom. They all do different things. Very cool game.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I'm like, it's fine. I don't run from it. But
that is definitely multi-use.
That is multi-use.
To balance the work table. Yeah, well, that is a better use. I don't think it's well, I guess it is. You could play the game and, be bored to sleep, or you can use it to fix things. All right, cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Uno, have you played the Marvel Uno? That's actually
Marvel Uno is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uno Ultimate.
Everybody has their own like asymmetrical deck, so it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
And you could run. You win by running people out of their deck. So or you can shed all your cards. I mean, there's like a couple of different ways to win.
Multiple ways to win, so it doesn't take forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mike, what you got?
All right. My number 5, I've actually been playing a little bit on BGA lately, and it is Beer and Bread.
That is my number 4. So I'll find out number 4. Excellent. I love Beer and Bread.
Really great 2-player game designed by Scott Olms. And what this game does really well, so this is a drafting game. You're going to have a hand of cards. You're going to select one, and then you're going to swap hands with the other player. But these cards have really interesting things that they can offer you. Here's a better example. You can use a card for the resources at the top and produce the resources, or you can tuck it under the board and get a special ability, or you can fulfill the resource demands on the card, and then you get these points at the end of the game. And that decision is really interesting because, yeah, you may want the resources right away so you can start building up towards the resources you need to complete these cards for your points. But sometimes taking the ability helps you build up faster when you take the resources off the card. A lot of them give you bonus resources. Some of them give you additional points. I really like the ones that give you points for completing like a full set of bread or a full set of beer. Those are my favorite cards in this game. But it's just really clever how you're drafting these cards back and forth, and you're drafting multi-use cards, and you're really, if you give up on one card, you're just really kind of hoping that card comes back to you. But it makes a tough decision each time of whether you're going to when you need resources, but sometimes it's better to get an ability so that if that resource card comes back to you, you get more when you choose that card. It is a really solid game.
I don't know if you saw this, by the way, but Pegasus Spiel has announced Wine and Cheese, which is the next one in this line, and I cannot wait to find out more about that one. So, yeah.
Ooh.
Sounds delicious.
Okay, I'll be interested in that. Okay, awesome. Well, I feel good that I stole one from you. That
you totally did. That's a great pick. Absolutely.
If you want to swap it for an honorable mention,
I've got
for
some.
it.
Don't worry.
There you go. Nice. All right, this is the way. But really, really good game. One of my favorite Scott Olms games for sure.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to number 4.
Had to do a little subtraction.
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't gonna call you out, but I did see it.
So this one here, it wasn't on the list when I was looking, but as I was thinking of games I've played that has different cards, and you're making these choices of like, am I going to use this card for this or that? Guards of Atlantis 2 came to mind.
Damn it, Bob.
Was that one of yours? Because when you level up, I don't really care much for MOBAs, but this is really interesting because when you level up, you have these options of cards, and you're going to use one you're going to add to your hand for the ability, and the other one's going to get turned over and tucked under your board, and it's going to give you some sort of a permanent boost to either like your initiative or your strength or your shield or something like that. And so that decision that you're making with those cards of the this or that is really interesting.
And it's not only when you're leveling up your cards and then tucking the one for the bonus. Some of these cards you can only move with it, or you can attack with it.
Yeah.
Or if you use the movement, you can't attack with it.
Yeah.
It makes it really tough to pick a card sometimes.
Yeah,
and
even it takes your initiative.
Yeah, and even when you've picked the card, which part of the card you're going to use can be really challenging. I left this one as a honorable mention, but I was happy to sneak it in there if one of mine got stolen. This is a great game.
Yep.
Yeah, this almost made the list as well. Yeah, really freaking good.
We've
surprised it wasn't listed in the multi-use card options.
We've gotten ourselves to kind of plan ahead some Fridays with West so we can keep playing this game. We've been having a blast playing this 2v2. It's a really fun game.
Yeah.
I want to call it in the chat there. Foxbat has some P&Ps he recommends that I don't actually never heard of. So I got some research to do. Thank you, Foxbat.
Yeah, that's our buddy Andrew.
That's the other Andrew, yeah.
Yeah, other Andrew. It must be an Andrew thing. Smart dudes.
Yeah, and as Trevor, the Guards of Atlantis 2 expert here says,
that's right.
You can also keep the cards in your hand and defend with them when you get attacked. There's so many uses for these cards. It is really fun.
All right. So my number 4 is I just talked about this when we were doing our top 100, and it did fall into our top 100, but the card usage is really good in it, and that is 4 Horsemen. So this is a co-op where you're trying to stave off the end of the world, asymmetric players. You're playing as sort of like heroes of antiquity, trying to stop the 4 Horsemen of the apocalypse from, running wild across the earth and ending the world. But your cards, there's spots where you're going to play your cards, and so depending on the spot you play the card is going to tell you what you're going to do with it. You might have to sacrifice it. You might use it for this ability. You're going to use it for this ability. It makes for really interesting choices, and it kind of goes back to that part of that decision making where you're like, man, like I really need this card for X, but should I use it for Y? And then it's really powerful if I use it here, but now it's going to be gone. So just really good choices, really good decisions. It's a very difficult co-op, and on top of that, it is hard to have somebody quarterback it, because I think that with the asymmetry, with the powers and the way you play the cards, kind of prevents that. And while Bob and I love really good co-ops, especially ones that'll smack you around, we also hate quarterbacks, like when it comes to the game. Like, we want to work together, but we definitely value our agency. So it's a great game. I'm looking forward to getting it played some more. I know Bob had a good time when we played it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different.
There's so much going on.
There's a lot of options there.
Yeah, but it's very cool, and it's a fun dark theme that I dig. So.
Yeah, co-ops are really tough, especially for the quarterback problem, like you said. I have a little coin phrase in this one. I call it the octopus, because it's actually one head, and then everybody else is just a tentacle.
Sure.
Really, it's not fun if only one person is actually playing and everybody else is being commanded what to do. So I think that is absolutely one of the hardest things for designers to design in a co-op game, is to make sure that is either not possible or less possible than it could be.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, even when we're playing with like new people, and people that maybe are unsure, I like to provide options without overwhelming them, but I don't want to tell people like, well, you're dumb if you don't do this.
Different things. Take your pick, or like try to just go without perfect information. Be like, hey, I'm going to deal with the situation. If you could just handle that, that'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. And then let them kind of do it in their own.
Yeah, divide and conquer is not the same thing as telling them what to do. It's very different.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
All right, so for my number 4, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit lighter than the other ones. I'm going to go with It's a Wonderful World.
Oh, nice.
This is a pretty cool game where each card is basically a recipe for victory points, or it's a resource. Mm-hmm. This is not the greatest of versions because it's not a ton of different possible options, but yet because of the drafting and because of the placement of the resources, and then when you finish the recipe, you actually get the resources in the next draft of things. There's a lot going on, a lot of things to consider despite those either or choices.
Oh, fantastic game. I love this game.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Good one.
I really enjoy this one. I got to get, and since I'm thinking about it right now, I'm actually going to jump on like Amazon. I need to get some like regular colored wooden cubes, because the semi-translucent ones, I have a really hard time distinguishing them apart, and it just makes the game less enjoyable for me. So I think if I just had some solid, like those cubes right there are awesome. That's what I need, are those cubes that are easy to tell apart.
Also, they made a 2-player version that's called It's a Wonderful Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Personally, I like the multiplayer better than the 2-player, but The 2-player does create a harsher tension and a more take that game if you like that kind of thing.
Okay. I don't mind that kind of thing. I just was kind of put off originally that it was only a 2-player. And then I don't know that I knew anybody that had played it. So,
Yeah, It's a Wonderful World is lacking at 3 or less, in my opinion.
It's a little soft, yes. So I definitely prefer it at higher player counts, which is why they made the 2-player version. But the 2-player version is a little sharper, a little more take that, which is not my favorite. So I like the original.
I also prefer it with the expansion and getting that player count up to 7 when possible.
Oh, yeah. What you got, Mike?
All right. My number 4 is an old one that I've just been dying to get to the table. And of course, when I say old games, I'm usually going to talk about a Stefan Feld, and we're talking about La Isla.
La Isla.
Yeah. So this is a really cool game where you are basically like an explorer. You're going around the island, La Isla, and you are trying to discover these different animals, these endangered species that are out on the map. So you're taking your little explorers and you're trying to surround these creatures. And the more of them you gain, the more points you get. And that is multiplied by how high that creature is up on this track. The crux of the game, though, is that you've got these cards and they have multiple choices on them. They can give you resources, they can give you a special ability, or they can move up one of the animals up the track, which multiplies your score. And the abilities that you can get in this game are very, very strong. But you can only have, I believe it's 3 of them. It's been a really long time since I've played this. It shows it right here. Here's your player board. You can have 3 of them. So you kind of slot or program these cards in, and then you reveal them as you go through these phases. My favorite card is always, to break it down to my favorite multi-use card in this game, is the one that gives you a slot for an extra ability, because the abilities feel so strong that when I can get a 4th ability procking on my turn, those are always the cards I'm going to take when I can get them. But this game, I think, is has a pretty light rule set, but there's a lot going on. And so it's very easy to learn, hard to master. I think well ahead of its time as a 2014 release. And now this, of course, has been reprinted as Vienna. But this is one I played a long time ago and have been dying to play again. It is a great game.
Yeah, I remember when I first got this game, and we played it 3 times in a week. And then I was kind of just over it, only because there were so many other cool things and I never got back to it. I'm a little sad about that. So I'm very excited to see what the new theming of Vienna does for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I have not picked up the new version. I still I know Liza was really good, and I just want to get it out at the table again. I actually reread the rules again recently. I've been wanting to play it again so bad. I don't know that this art helps, though. Like, the board looks
really
cooler
does.
in the old version.
The other one was ugly in its own way. This is ugly in a completely different way. Oof.
Yeah, just like an almost all white board. Not loving it.
It feels very dated. It feels like it's in the 80s. It went from being in the 80s to being earlier 80s.
Maybe I just like nature themes, so when there's like drawn animals or stuff like that,
Or
I'm more drawn to that.
Or color. Right.
Color is good. Also, like the fact that there's different countries in here, but like to display them with just their flags and like a one building representation of them is not doing a lot for me.
No.
Yeah. Ooh.
Where's
Ouch.
Matt Paquette when you need him? They got to get that team on there, man, and design a better looking
No
board.
kidding. That's an Andrew question right there.
That is a really good question. It is actually probably one of the biggest issues. And the only way you can figure it out is to play test the hell out of it. And just look for it. I mean, I sometimes have play tested my games being like, where can I find balance issues? Where can I break it to do something that seems overpowered, and then kind of run it in the wall? And does it fall down and then not be a good strategy? Because that's good. Or, is it viable but still not powerful? That's good. If if it automatically wins me the game, I got to fix something. So I think that just comes with just playing it.
Play testing.
I call that pulling a West and his tulips is what that's.
That's right, man.
Yep.
That is right.
Yep.
But that's why, those playtesting experiences are just invaluable, because you may not have foreseen somebody. Would somebody be so crazy to do that? And the answer is yes, because a West or his equivalent will be out there.
That's like somebody playing, 12 Isle cards in a game where you only need to have 8 Isle cards in play before you can leave a store after getting all the milk and bread you need to buy.
Bro, play to win, buddy. Get good.
Anyways.
All right.
Anyway, we should move on to our number 3.
So my number 3, super interesting game to me, because not only are the cards multi-use, but the board becomes multi-use when you use it to pack all the components away to pack it away. I'm talking about Dabbawala.
Damn it, Bob.
Dabbawala is really interesting, where you're just kind of going around town and you're collecting these cards, and these cards are going to have different polyomino shapes on them that you're building up on your little wagon. But then once you're done with that phase of the game, you're going to use those same cards to then manipulate the market as you sell those and try to make as much money as you can through the second phase. And when we played this first time, like I thought it was just super interesting with the way it was handling everything from the actual gameplay to the fact that you're playing and you're pulling all these bits out, and then at the end of the game you're selling them and you're putting all the bits back, and by the time you're done, most of the game's already put away already, and it's super interesting to me. And those cards being multi-use, sometimes you're going to get the card just so you can get that manipulation for the market at the end. Sometimes you're going for the polyomino itself. Sometimes you're doing it because it's good for both. And so it's one of those guys. It's not necessarily or this or that, but you do go after different cards for different reasons. So.
This is the most unique polyomino game that I've played. Number one, I think just because you get to stack them on top of each other.
Layers,
I haven't played any other games that do that. But then also the way you get the points off of these, as you mentioned, you start with the layer. So like if you've got 10 layers of polyominoes on top of each other, you're going to start at your 10th layer and work your way down. And that same card that gave you a polyomino, as Bob said, this color here is going to determine how much each square on that tile is going to give you points-wise. Mm-hmm. And you have to pay attention to what other players are doing, because if you notice, every other player has blue on their 10th stack, you may just save your blue for a different level and assume that multiple other players, because these max at 4. So if 3 players play a 2, you've wasted one of your blue 2s that you could have used in a later turn. I just love that kind of psychology of trying to score those cards at the right level. This one's really good. Good pick, Bob. And damn you.
It was on your list.
It was.
Nice.
It was literally. I had it as my number 3 actually. So like same number and everything.
1,200 more choices you could pick from.
That's right. That's right. So kind of like what, going in a different direction than Bob's game, but one of Andrew's wonderful mixed drinks. There's nothing better than when a game combines a few different mechanics to just give you like perfect mix, and you get this wonderful beverage. So for me, Comic Hunters has multi-use cards and drafting and like all these different ways you can draft, and you've got to spend the cards. And so the cards you're drafting, that's important because you want to add them to your collection because of different tags that they have, or maybe you just like that superhero, and you used to own those comics. But also at the same time, you need to draft cards that you are going to be prepared to get rid of, because you need to use cards to pay for the cards that you're going to add to your collection. So you've got to discard a bunch of cards to then then pay for the cards you want to keep and add to your collection. And it can make for some agonizing decisions. And it can be very much a kill your darlings kind of game, because it's like, man, I really want to keep this one, but it's worth 3. I could play a bunch more cards down into my tableau, and just have that much better of a collection, and probably score more points. So it really provides a lot of great choices. While at the same time, kind of like the other ones, you could play it very surface level and just collect comics you like, throw them down, see what you get. But you could really dig in. You could really dig in and kind of get nuts with it. And but it's a great game, and I'm a big fan for many reasons. But I do love that multi-use cards in that combined with that drafting mechanic. It just is just a great mix for me and my taste.
I haven't had a chance to play this one, but I want to. And I've heard that it's really good for the multi-use cards, yeah.
Yeah, it does it well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interesting draft mechanisms, too. Like, if you like drafting stuff, like, there's so many different ways to draft cards. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, so my number 3, I think, might predate you guys in the hobby. I'm not 100% sure on that, but this is something I don't hear a lot of people talking about, so it's kind of in the Wayback Machine, and that is Lewis and Clark.
Now, I'm aware of, have never played. So
I played this a long time ago. Yeah.
So it didn't quite predate you, but yeah, this one, this is probably my favorite Brutal game. And I mean that by like, you can really get yourself up a creek without a paddle. And pun was definitely intended.
Yeah.
Well, I've played Take 5 with you. I've seen you get brutal.
But in this one, what makes this game genius is that every card you play has to have another card to power it. And so there's 3 levels to the powers of the cards. So if you play a level 1, you're only going to be able to do a level 1 action. But if you play a level 2 card with a level 1 card, you're doing the level 1 card, but with twice the power. And so you're constantly doing this push and pull of like, I have this 3, which is a really powerful action. But if I pair it with a 1, I can only do that action once. Versus maybe I want to do that 1 level action 3 times. And I just think that is such a gorgeous and interesting way to go about it. And then it's a puzzle in itself in recipe making, where I need these resources to make this other resource, and this other resource that turn that in to move on the river. But like, I need tools, and I need leather, and I need skins, and I need food, and all these different kind of things. I need combos of those things. But the cards I have dictate what I need and how to use it. And everybody has a same starting deck, but just like in deck building, you're going to grow and grow and grow and get more powerful cards added to it. And so it's just this really cool combo mechanism, but it's a little punishing. So if that's not in your wheelhouse, you don't like that kind of thing, this is not a game for you. But it is also Vincent Dutrait art, so you can't go wrong.
You cannot go wrong. I definitely like games that can be punishing as long as it's not 3 hours or 4 hours. Because if you're already buying the 8-ball after hour 1, you're just taking up a spot at the table.
Well, it's a racing game, so the game is as long as it takes to get to the end. But for most times, I think it's 45 minutes to an hour.
That's perfect. That is perfect. Give me a mean-ass game in that time period. I love it.
This is one I've really been wanting to revisit. I have not played this really since right around it came out, 2014. There's also, isn't there a dice version of this, Andrew? Have you played that?
There is, and the dice version is actually pretty cool as well. It's a little less punishing, and it's a little bit different because you're drafting paths, and you need to use the dice to go along that path, and you can roll the dice, and you assess those dice into the different paths and stuff like that. But that's also a very cool version. In fact, my wife and I, we took that traveling a lot early on in our relationship because it was a medium weight game in a bunch of dice. So
sweet.
That also works that way, but it's not quite the same multi-use cards that the original is. And by the way, Lewis and Clark is on Board Game Arena. So for those who have never played it, you can.
You can try it out for free.
I've seen this like on clearance so many different times, and I never picked it up. I feel like I should have years ago.
I'm beginning to feel the same way. Yeah,
the journeys of Lewis and Clark, but yeah, Lewis and Clark is a great game. I've been really wanting to revisit that one. Quick aside, my 1920 I've already guzzled down, but the last thing I want to do is be hungover on my first day of a new job.
Right.
Um, Number 2, Andrew, you've already got a BGA invite for beer and bread.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, so this is one I'm swapping this one in because Bob stole my number 3, which was Dabawala. And here's an old classic which I actually brought this weekend. And it is called Steampunk Rally.
Nice. Yeah.
This was one of my original favorite racing games. I love racing games. I like games that can support a lot of players that are not just party games. And so this one just checks a lot of boxes for me. You can also play this in an hour, even with 8 players. So you're doing a draft. You're an inventor, and you are trying to take pieces or parts, add them to your cockpit, and get your engine across the finish line before those other inventors. And so when you get a hand of cards, you can discard it for these resources up here, or you take the part and you attach it anywhere. You've got these gauges to connect them. You can rearrange this anytime you want. And the thing is, though, you may get these really powerful cards that can move you quickly or repair your engine, but without discarding cards to get dice, you aren't going anywhere because you need to get those dice put on these cards to get your engine moving. And you do so by these can multiply. So, like, for example, this card here has a 2 here. If you slap down a 6, you get to do this 3 times. So this is going to generate red dice for you. And then you can take those red dice and program them into this area. And as long as it's a 4 or higher, you get 4 movement. But you are going to take damage to your contraption here. So you may need some cards like this with the heart shield that repair your engine. Just a really, really fun game. It plays fast, and there's a lot of different ways to play. You can play reckless, where you're taking the shortcuts around the track. Parts are flying off of your contraption. You're not repairing anything, and you're just replacing them every time you draft. Or you can just keep this tight little engine and keep repairing what you have and keep all the parts intact. Just a really, really well done game. I like this theme. It represents steampunk really well. Love all the different inventors that you can play in the game. Just a great classic game here.
Shout out to Carlos with a really great question down there. You can pull that one up.
Ooh.
So for me, there are plenty of themes that really fit this naturally. I think any game where you're doing racing and you need to do multiple kinds of things within the race, like not just the pedal, but like brakes and steering and stuff like that. You could do different cards for that kind of thing. I also think city building is a great way.
That was one that I was going to suggest.
Resources or buildings or recipes or powers or different kind of like that. I think any game that just is multifaceted, if you're doing a lot of different things, then any card could be many different things. But I think you can't go simple and have it work out.
Yeah.
I think this game actually represents multi-use cards perfectly. And here's a great example. I just stayed on this. This is your inventor who has their own asymmetric ability. And each time during the race phase, you can pick, do you want a yellow die? Do you want to repair part of your contraption? Or do you want the gears? And the gears are the only way to get the dice off of your cards. Once they're on there, they're stuck unless you use gears to pip them down to 0, which removes them and allows you to reactivate those cards. And all of these inventors have these multi usages in their cockpit. I think this game actually is a great example of a theme that fits multi-use cards.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of like steampunk. I've seen a lot of games where they just kind of slap steampunk on to get the flavor. But this game feels so steampunky. The fact that you're rolling dice, you want high numbers to get a really strong ability because you're pumping it full of that steam. But then it's full, and you got to pip those dice down as you're venting that steam out so you can get it empty so you can pump it full of steam again. it just really feels like it should. And so I really enjoy this. It's been a while since I played. My dad, who's an engineer, I played this with him, and he's like, that was awesome. And he's asked me to bring it again. I just haven't had a chance to do it. But yeah, he really
I think
liked
we
how
talked
it
about this one again recently because it's still in my top 100, which we're still going through. And that's why I ended up putting it in my bag for this weekend. I would love to play this one again.
Yeah.
Great picks.
All the way
Let's get some
down.
more good picks on to our number 2.
Well, like I had said at the beginning, my original number 2 was Gloomhaven, but I'm going to go ahead and drop in an honorable mention. I'm going to say Path of Civilization. We got to play this over the weekend. I love Civilization type games. This one's different because it's not really like dudes on a map. It's a little bit more abstract, but it's simultaneous, so the rounds go really smooth. But then every turn in phase A, you've got these 5 different techs, and you're choosing whether you want to get the cubes off the one side, if you want to get the techs off the other side, and one of those has to get buried and go away for the rest of the game. And just that decision every turn is just very interesting on what you're trying to build towards, what you're trying to get, what are your goals, and it's that this or that. But then you get a new tech. Every turn you're getting a new tech, so you get to upgrade those and get new things to add to your repertoire. And I really enjoy this game, and I'm pretty sure everybody that played had a good time playing. So
I think so, and the thing that impresses me with this game is we were definitely playing with people that do not
play heavy.
They're not hardcore gamers like we are, or we get in and we're used to a lot of the different mechanics and mechanisms and game concepts and everything. Like, so it's people that are, newer, fresher to the hobby, because like anybody that plays a ton of games, you can usually like kind of scaffold that teach off of previous experiences.
Right.
And like,
it's kind of like this, or it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I already know how this mechanic works, so unless it's really weird or awkward, it's gonna work the way I think it's gonna work. But this game we were playing, and Bob went through the whole teach, and he did a great job explaining everything. But like, definitely there were people that were like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And the game is so streamlined and well designed that it's like, okay, literally we are just going to do this part right now. And then it's like, you remember that all you're doing is you're getting this. Oh, perfect. Now we're going to go to B. Perfect. Now we're going to go to C. Perfect. And then by 3-4 turns in, people were barely asking questions.
Yep.
I mean, it was like turns were
just
flowing.
Super smart. How like the squares are cubes, the circles are the cylinders. Anytime you see one or the other, that's what it's talking about. That graphic design choice of that was just
so
super
damn
smart.
strong. It's so strong. They did a great job, and it's a really good game. I hadn't gotten to play it in a while, and so that's why I made a point to like sit down and play that when we were getting it out, Bob. And I'm really glad I did, because it was as good as I remembered it being.
Sweet.
So anyways, my number 2 though, man, grim, dark, and just super fun, and it's got to be Bloody Inn. The multi-use cards you're talking about, Andrew talks about, like, building stuff. You got to have games where you're building stuff, or great games for multi-use cards. And Bloody Inn is just right there. I love the artwork. I love the theme. It's dark and it's funny. But every time you get these cards, you got to figure out how you're going to use them. And I don't know that there's ever like super easy choices, and, if I got to kill this guy showing up at my hotel, am I going to kill him? If I kill him, I got to bury him. Do I turn this into like an expansion onto my hotel? Like I'm adding this room, or, I'm adding this thing. So many really good choices. And it's always really funny though, when you're making these choices, because like horrible things are happening. And, I just really appreciate the game for what it does, the experience. We're always laughing, like when we're playing this, and just kind of like, evilly cackling at like what we're doing and the evil deeds that we're doing. But man, I don't know, man. This game is just a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's great art. It's a good time. It is complex enough. it's definitely a little bit more on the crunchier end, but man, is it a good time. And it's worth the effort. Explaining to people.
This game, I just haven't gotten to it yet. I need to though.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. The theme might put some people off, and that's fine, right? To each their own. Know what you're going to be fine with and what you're not. But it is a darker theme. But man, I thoroughly enjoy this game.
So Carlos is bringing the heat with the questions again. Good Lord.
Dude, I'm telling you, he
Always
does all my
does, man.
research for me.
He's an all-star.
Love the Weberson Santiago arts.
So for me to answer this question, I think it has just become more mainstream. It's gotten closer to being prevalent than it was early on. I think designers are always looking for the cutting edge, but also the fertile ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, can I do something that's gimmicky? We got to do something gimmicky that leads to good, crunchy, interesting decisions. And I think multi-use cards are still relatively new in the hobby, but they're getting more prevalent across the board, and they're being included in a lot of small ways. Not necessarily a game that has 6 different uses on one card, but almost every game now has 2 uses.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the hobby and the industry just sort of evolving, right? Like your palette becomes more complex, and the gamer's tastes are more diverse, so you need a little bit of extra on there.
I think Carlos needs his own show. I think
Dude, Carlos
to drop these questions on guests every week and then put them out there, because he's asking the kind of questions that make it like almost an advanced level class.
We need to give Carlos like a hot seat segment. What I mean? Like, all right, we're gonna put our designer in the hot seat, and Carlos is going to ask. I mean, they're always great questions, though.
They are.
The Carlos Q&A section.
Yeah, there you go. All right, for my number 2, I think Alexander Pfister might be the king of multi-use cards. And so I'm going to go with Maracaibo, which is my current favorite of his designs. You are cruising around the Caribbean, but every card has a cost to play the card. Right? And the card has a power for what it does. But 2, it also has a good on it. So it could have sugar, tobacco, or corn. And you're going to use those goods to stop at ports and take the action at the port. So you need to have the right card to do the action when you stop at the port. Or it could be a special icon. Maybe it's a map or a book or a telescope. And that powers other cards. And then finally, you can toss it for coins. But if you look at the cards themselves, it's broken up into sections, which I think was another question somebody asked, is how do people, showcase multi-use cards? And I think putting it into sections where you expect the cost to be here and the power to be there. See, so the governor costs 20 coins. He's worth 5 victory points. He is corn, so you can throw him away for corn from your ship, or you can throw him away for mint. Or at the bottom there, if he's in play, you're going to be able to take action or the little token cube. I can't think, my brain's not working right now, but the little token for that, when you do that, and it gives you one of the different kind of special icons. So he basically becomes a wild steal. You can pull one of the icons you need from the pouch. Nice. It's a really cool game, though. It's a race game because you're racing in multiple rounds. And so you're kind of doing this thing where you're also blocking different ports. It is a worker placement game on a movement track. But the multi-use cards are really what makes it special.
I've never played this, but I've heard good things.
So another little tidbit is that there's the base game that you can play, right? Which is just laid out that way. But if you play the campaign part of the game, it unlocks all sorts of other things that go on in the game and brings different locations and stuff. The game is better once you've done that, which I think is really a shame, because a lot of people won't bother to play the legacy campaign, which is very poorly written, but it opens up good content.
That's wild. That is wild. That's a good topic at some point in time. Big swings that miss, like that's a big swing that maybe just missed just a little bit.
And these guys are hitting the questions I wanted to ask. It's been so long. Speaking of Pfister, does Great Western Trail count?
I think it's closer to borderline. I think it does, but truthfully, I didn't enjoy Great Western Trail, so I cannot say I remember it well enough And the new version of Great Western Trail is actually a better version of Great Western Trail. They did a re-release of it, and it's called El Paso, and it streamlines a bunch of things and makes it just a cleaner game, in my opinion.
And one of
And
my
yes,
honorables.
Oh My Goods is fantastic. Tiny little box game. Yeah.
That was one of my honorables, another Fister. Yeah, this one, played this one a long time ago. This one's pretty good. There's a lot of depth to this game for what it is.
Clemens Franz
Being
art,
just a
gotta love
deck
it.
of cards.
Just a deck
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what you got?
Good stuff. Okay, man. What's wild is we're comparing like older multi-use card games to newer multi-use card games, and some of my favorites for this list are older ones. My number 2 is Deus.
Oh, Deus is a good one.
Yeah, this is also probably one of my favorite engine building games. I've played this quite a bit, not just here, but also on BGA. So the main crux of this game, number 1, is for an engine building and tableau building game, you're also dudes on a map, essentially, because you have to have what they call buildings, but some of the buildings are militia characters. You have to have the matching building in your player area to be able to play that card. And you have to have a place to put them, which is adjacent to other buildings that you've placed, because you can't have more than one building, more than one building type on one piece of terrain. And then you get to resolve the cards in your tableau. The interesting thing to me always about this game is that when you play a card, you're going to put it at the top of these similar buildings here. Then you're going to activate them from the oldest card you played up. So you're going to activate every single one of these cards just by playing this newest one here at the top. And I always love that action. Where the multi-use comes in is that every card can be discarded for its own action. And the more cards you discard, hand limit of 10, the more stuff you get. So you've got one of them that can give you more buildings, which you have to have on your player board to be able to even play a card of that type. You've got others that give you resources. You've got others that give you gold. And to specifically talk about my favorite multi-use card in this game, it's these maritime buildings, because discarding them gives you money. There are certain maritime buildings where you can spend money to buy resources like this. Then you can stack other maritime building cards on top of it where you sell resources for points. So you get this ridiculous engine going with your maritime buildings where you're buying resources, then immediately turning around and selling them for points. It is a very satisfying engine building game. And it is a race as well, because the first person to either deplete the point supply or attack all of the barbarian villages where these victory point counters are ends the game. I'm a huge fan of this one. And the discard actions sometimes can feel just as strong and useful as the engine cards that you play them as.
Yeah, if I remember this one right, Mike, also there's a great push and pull where trying to build one of a type feels really good for all the actions, but if you don't spread out and do a little bit of everything, you're kind of screwing yourself, right?
Yeah, and plus you've got those, I'll just call them temples because I can't remember what they're called. They are the in-game point scoring cards, but you can't play them until you have one of each building type.
That's what I remember.
So,
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Where you have to spread out, but you really want to specialize.
You can't play your second one until you've got 2 cards of each type, so on and so forth. That's another in-game trigger too, is if you've played all 4 of your temples, and they are the best way for in-game victory points. Yeah, this one's awesome.
Played
Right,
this on BGA.
Carlos went ahead and lofted up another one. Toss it up there. Personally, I would love to see more innovation with this one. I think legacy elements would be very fun. Like you could do scratch offs on cards where like you have to do something in order to scratch off another section and then see what it reveals. I think that'd be really cool. App integration. I'm not a huge fan of what apps do because it takes me away from the physical components. But if it does something in the app, if I scan it and then it tells me like some cool spooky voice comes in and says, now you can do this or something, that could be kind of a fun way to do something like that. Yeah, I mean, just like me and other designers, I'm assuming are out there are trying to find the new cool thing. And the hard part is finding it.
Have you played the Chronicles of Crime?
I have not played that one yet.
Yeah, so it's like detective, and you have all these cards, and they have QR codes, and then as you scan them, you can go to like they give you information, then you can scan different location QR codes. You say you show up at this location, you see this person and this person, pull their cards out. You can pull their car out, so you scan them, then it gives you like a dialogue choice, and you choose. And so, I mean, I don't know that I call it like a multi-use, but it kind of implements a little app integration with like a QR legacy type aspect to it. So,
sure.
Trevor, I'm struggling to figure out how Hadrian's Wall would be multi-use. The main cards are the ones you flip to activate your turn, which determine how many meeples you get to use on your turn. I can't figure out which part would be multi-use, but it's been a minute since I've played. He's played a lot more than I have, for sure. Anywho.
All right. I think it's time for number 1.
It is.
My number 1, and just a little behind the scenes, how this usually works. When somebody comes up with a topic or a guest comes up with a topic, the first game that I think of that pops in my head 90% of the time just becomes my number 1 because it was the first one that hit me. It's normally my favorite game of this type. And that definitely kind of happened this time because I love me some Defenders of the Realm. And when you're playing, I kind of said something when Mike said pandemic because Defenders of the Realm is pandemic-ish. But you're getting all these cards in your hand. You're using them for special types of movement. They have special actions on them, but you can't just go spending them willy-nilly because the ones that have the strongest movements on them also have the most dice that icons on them, and those dice are what you need to fight the generals. And so you're trying to balance that. Do I use this to move around the board to take out these minions before they explode and move across the board, or do I save it for those 2 dice that we can use against the general? And Defenders of the Realm is just, and again, it's one of those, it's co-op-y, so you do got to be careful of the quarterbacking. But we've played this enough times to where it's just like, hey, I'm going to go handle these guys. You do what you want on your turn. As long as we're all aware of what danger zones are what, let people handle things in the way they see, fit, and just have fun with it. So, yeah, I picked up the Dragon expansion for this, and we played the Oops All Dragons version and got my handed to me. So
and maybe I was thinking about this a little bit, Bob, and maybe it's just because it's your nice play style and we actually care about like other people at the table, where we actively try not to quarterback and make sure that people feel like they can make good decisions. But yet another really good co-op where I think this one you could technically you could have somebody quarterback a little bit, again, it's an older game, but I know that the way that we play, and the way that we've taught it and we've played it with new people, that we just steer away from all of those kind of things. But yeah, man, what a great game. That's fantastic. So for those of you that know me, for my number 1, I'm competitive, I'm grumpy, I'm stodgy, and I'll never forget a thing that Andrew said to me when he's talking about Wine Cellar, because Wine Cellar obviously has multi-use cards. It's a great reason for this topic. But one of my favorite multi-use cards, thank you, David. One of my favorite multi-use card games is a game that shares a little DNA with Wine Cellar, and that's For Sale.
Yes.
And in Andrew's goal, he's like, my goal is to kill For Sale. I'm gonna take this game down. I'm gonna replace it. Listen. You say very rational things, Andrew, and then my ears interpret them in the worst ways possible, so that it can fit my narrative. So here's the thing: is I love For Sale. I think For Sale is a great multi-use auction card game. It's really hard to sort of reinvent the wheel when you come to this kind of game and this style of game. But I'll tell you what, because I'm an adult and I will admit defeat when it happens. I literally have tried this. I've taken For Sale and I've taken Wine Cellar and I put them on the table next to each other, and people pick Wine Cellar every time. So Wine Cellar has to be my number one because it is my multi-use card game that just gets played more. I think between the theme, that draws people in, and then the gameplay and the mechanics are really interesting, and people really dig. I think people get so, and I'm victim of this too, that we get so obsessed with just stacking those bottles like in the best way that you forget how important it is with the bidding, you know what I mean? And using those cards as the bids and keeping in mind that they're going to populate, what's going on. And that is a feature, not a bug, right? Like it's not a bad thing that you can hyper focus on like one aspect of the game. Honestly, I think that's a strength if you've got things in the game that are so captivating, because then it's like you go back to replay it, you want to re-rack and you want to play again because you're like, oh shit. Now I remember I need to watch out for these tags, like, the countries. I'm looking for these, or these kinds of wines. And so then you want to re-rack and you want to try again with all of those things in mind, because now you're like, oh, wait a minute, I might actually be able to win if I'm paying attention to all the other things. But it rewards multiple plays. It's a really good game. It's really well made. And, so Andrew has successfully destroyed and buried. I actually had to go out in the yard and burn my copy of For Sale in front of a big poster of Wine Cellar with Andrew gloating. I drew devil horns on it. But no, man, like all jokes aside, it's a great game that uses that multi-use card ability really well. Like that would be one of the first couple of games that I would bring to the table with people that don't play a ton of games, but I know it's going to fit very comfortably into the docket with my friends that do play a lot of games. So that in itself is a sweet spot. And it's hard to do. And, we've all got games that we love that never hit the table. And this is not one of them, because this is very easy to get to the table. It's very accessible. So.
Well, as much as I really appreciate you saying that, Tim, by the way, I did see that your top 60 games, Halloween was higher up than Wine Cellar. So obviously you don't love it that much.
Hold up. Mine was still higher than Mike's.
And I'm pretty sure I've played it more. I will say this. I originally had Wine Cellar on my list, and I took it off based on a technicality. And that is, yes, the cards do have two different uses to them. However, during the bidding phase, you're choosing the card to bid with. Then when you buy the cards, you're not looking at the bid anymore. You're just choosing the one that lines up in your cellar better. So technically, based on the phase, it has one use during that phase. I can't look at that card and decide to use one of the two things at that particular time.
I agree with Mike. And actually, when this game was designed, it did have another use that you would have it for. But of course, we shaved it off, and we rightfully should have, because it ruined the game. So I'm so glad we did. And by the way, Matt is here. Matt did the graphic design for this game. Did an amazing job on it. Between him and Vincent Dutray, you're talking about the two best people in art and graphic design in the industry, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's not even fair. It's not even fair. So many people try to get games made, and here you just come waltzing in like, hey, I got this little game I'm gonna try out, and you get Paquette working on one end, you got Vincent Dutray doing the art. It's not even fair. Give other people a chance, man. Come on.
Hey, listen, you find the right people, and the right people make good things. That's what it
true.
is, right?
That is true.
That's what it's all about.
That is true. Good things Good things happen to great people.
I know.
Yeah.
I am terrible. I'm trying to get better, but I'm just terrible. I can't help it.
Speaking, Evan's probably been struck by lightning like 12 or 13 times. He's such a rotten person. You know, that's like God, like actively trying to remove that human being from the earth.
Oh wow, yeah, these are good picks. I never did play 51st State. I did play Imperial Settlers quite a few times. So
Yeah, Imperial Settlers is a good one. I just never was able to get it to the table very much.
it's mean. I didn't like raising and completely destroying people's cards.
It's a mean game too, but it's
Yeah.
brilliant as it's designed. Yeah.
And I've just cooled on the Dune Imperium series just tremendously.
All right. So
But
for my number
great
one, people who
usage.
might know me, it's an obvious choice. This is to me the most elegant version of the multi-use cards that exists. Not the most complex, but the most elegant, and that is Forest Shuffle.
Oh, Forest Shovel's good.
Yeah,
That
this
is a
one
good
for
one.
me is the card is a tree, right? Or you use it to pay for things. But more importantly, the animals are two-sided. It's either a left or a right or a top or a bottom, and you cannot play both. You may only play one, but once again, also, you have to use other cards to pay for it. And you get a bonus if you use other cards that match the color of the bonus. So, for instance, the tawny owl in the upper right-hand corner, he costs 2 cards. But if you pay for both of those cards with the dark green leaf, you get to draw 3 cards instead of 1. So this game, although not perfect in no way, shape, or form, I have lots of issues with it, but it's also the most replayable game in my collection because of the many different paths to victory. The original base game Forest Shuffle was a little dominant in certain strategies, but if you add in the expansions, it fixed some of those things. And then, of course, they came out with a brand new standalone version, which is Forest Shuffle Dartmoor, and they fixed some of the balancing issues. And I cannot wait to get the new expansion coming out this year for Forest Shuffle Dartmoor to make that deck a little thicker.
I played this game, played my sister's copy at a small convention in Indy and was really impressed with Forest Shuffle, to be honest. I thought it was really good. I just haven't played it enough, but I think it's great. Hey, David, thanks for being here, man. We will see you on the wrap up if you watch the rest of it, and we'll definitely see you next week.
Well, Tim and anybody else in the audience there, you have an open invitation to challenge me to Board Game Arena of either Forest Shuffle or Dartmoor with any of the expansions. I cannot get enough of this game. I've probably played this game 400 times.
Oh, shit.
In the last 2 or 3 years. My wife loves it, so we play it when we're traveling. We take it everywhere with us. We'll break it out if we have an hour to play, just something while we're waiting for something to happen. We'll just say, there's a table, let's break it out. Now, the game has lots of issues. One of the things that it's an issue is the scoring at the end. You have a gigantic tableau full of points to score on the table, and scoring takes us about 7 to 10 minutes, and that's because we do it really quickly and we're good at it, but it's probably a 15-minute scoring game, which is obnoxious. Like, really and truly it is. But I do think this game is a brilliant masterclass in multi-use cards.
To answer a couple questions in the chat, Matt, we basically were synonymous with the BGG explanation, which is when a card has multiple uses, but you can only choose one of those uses at a time, and you're forfeiting the other use of that card. Like Andrew mentioned, Forest Shuffle has 2 different sides of the card. You can only use one of them at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And yes,
Tim already mentioned Glory to Rome.
Yep. That's right, baby. I had that one first.
My 2 cents on Forest Shuffle. I think it's a good game. I don't love Forest Shuffle. The options in my hand are almost overwhelming to me sometimes.
Yep.
Because it's not only that I can have a hand of 10 cards, but there's 2 different. So I have 20 options with every card. Plus, I'm trying to figure out load up on cards that I can discard to get special abilities.
Yep.
So it's almost overwhelming to me sometimes, and especially when I play it on BGA, and it's been a couple days, and I'm like, oh, I got 10 cards. I got to go back and remember what they all do. And the font is way too small.
Mike also can't hold that many cards at once in his tiny hands.
So. Oh, just give me a card holder. That's That's automatic with Force Shuffle.
Yeah, I will not tell you it does not have warts. It has plenty of things that are not great, but for whatever reason, no, it hits a chord for me, and I love playing.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
I
I don't
won't
mind.
turn down
I don't
a
mind
game on it.
warts. And if honestly, if a game has got to grind to a halt, and it's during scoring, that's when that game needs to.
Hey,
If
Jeff.
you've got to have that where it's going to grind to a halt, that's when you want it, because you don't want it in the middle of the game. You know,
that's fair.
at least at the end of the game, you can kind of start to pack it up as you're counting your points. You know, like, you know, and if it's got a good score pad, you could just kind of go down and you just go around. You know, you just go around the table. Hey, who's got this? Who's got that? You know, you help everybody double check. You can mitigate some of that, but again, at the end of the game, that's fine. You know, when you got games that combat's really interesting, but everything else just stops so that we can do this. You know, I just don't know that you get away with that anymore. So end of the game scoring is not, stalling gameplay is not a cardinal sin for me, like maybe other things could be.
We took this on a cruise, and we were playing, my wife and I, just 2-player, and this other couple walked up and said, "This looks really interesting. Can we just sit and watch you play?" We're like, "Sure, go ahead." And after watching us play, they're like, "We think we get it. We want to jump in." I'm like, "Awesome." So we played the 4-player version. And when it came to the scoring, I just said to him, "If you don't mind, I'll just do your scoring for you, so you don't have to go through the pain of it." And so, if you can lighten the load for new players to try it out, and then, obviously explain what you're doing, but because I can score quickly, I could just power through it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good ambassadorship, sir. Yep. That's what's up.
Does multi-use cards, does it cause more AP in bigger groups?
I think the AP comes from too many different uses versus more different players, right? Like Mike said, when he has a handful of 8 cards and each of them has 2 on it, that's 16 choices. That's where the AP comes in, I think, more than just multiple players. Although if the card was powered by who you were using it on, that might change, right? Like if I use this card on Mike, it has this power. But if I use this card on Bob, it has this power. If I use this power on Tim, it has this power. That would cause some serious AP.
Yeah, the idea is just don't use it on Tim. Use it on Mike or Bob. It's probably a better choice. Is what I found.
All right, Mike. All right. What's your number 1?
So when we picked this topic, Andrew said he knew what my number 1 was going to be.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I did confess that I've cooled tremendously on Dune Imperium, but I still love this game, even though I haven't played it in a while, and it's Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I'm shocked. I thought I was going to start with a C and end with an Ordia.
Here's why that, to me, does not classify as a multi-use card game.
I want to see if Mike and I agree on this, because Concordia is one of my all-time favorite games as well.
It's why For Sale and Wine Cellar do not count. I can use the guard as an action during the game only. Yeah. At the end of the game, when we're done playing, it only gets used for scoring. Okay. So therefore, I don't get to choose or eliminate any other option on the card. I always get to use it for 2 different purposes in 2 different sections of the game. So on a technicality, I did not include it.
Yeah, you and I feel differently about that, as far as I guess we just visualize, we just don't see the same thing as far as that exact use of multi-use. I understand what you're saying, but
that's what I classified multi-use as. And then when I went to BGG and browsed through it and it said you get to pick one of the options, not all of them, I'm like, okay, well, I agree. So that is the fundamental principle that drove my decision for what a multi-use card is. Okay. And that's why Lost Ruins is my number 1, because you can buy these blue cards, and when you buy them out of the market, you can immediately use these abilities. And then when they are in your deck, you can play a tablet and continue using these abilities. But if you want to explore a new location, or if you want to visit a different section on the map, you can't just travel with boots. You need either a boat, a jeep, or a plane. And if you use the card for its movement to move your workers out into those placements, you can't also use the ability on the card. So you have to choose every round. Is the ability on the card more important than being able to travel out to the farther places on the map? And I think that's such an interesting decision each time, because some of the juicier spots are further up the board. As you get out into here, you've got to use planes to get out there. You start with just those basic locations. None of these have been explored yet, but you're going to need jeeps, boats, and ultimately airplanes to get way up here. And those locations are always juicier. And using those to get your workers out there is a really important decision every round. I'll add even my favorite cards in this game. Number one is the pickaxe. The pickaxe allows you to spend an expedition token for a tablet and an arrowhead. And tablets and arrowheads are so big in activating the blue cards, number one. But number two, really the way you win this game is by moving up this track, and you need tablets and arrowheads to move up that track. And so anytime I can get that pickaxe card and just blow my expedition tokens on arrowheads and tablets and just power my way up that track, I'm going to do pretty well. One other card I love in the game is they call the aeroplane, not to be confused with an airplane or the Red Hot Chili Peppers song. It has two plane movement, which is huge because you can use the two different movement with two different workers, which is awesome. But also, if you're discovering a new location, you do so with a discount of 2 expedition tokens, which is huge because trying to get up to these higher spots here, it costs 6 expedition tokens to explore these higher up areas. So any discount on those expedition tokens is great. So the multi-use to me in Lost Ruins of Arnak is very, very strong. It is very light as a deck building game. You can win this game without building much of a strong deck. But if you can get certain cards, it absolutely will drive your strategy for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I love this game, and I agree with you. I have one small nitpick, and that is you cannot ignore the research track and expect to win.
Yes,
it has
I
a
agree.
single path to victory. It's just about how efficient you are with that path. I cannot wait to see the new maps that are coming out with Arnak. I haven't got a chance to see that, the new expansion for that. And I'm hoping that creates a secondary or even tertiary path to victory in that game, because that would make that game so much better.
I agree with you. I find myself, whenever I teach it, I just make sure I tell people, do not ignore this side of the board. If you do, you cannot win.
Keep
right.
As long as everybody understands that going in, I think it's a really enjoyable experience.
Absolutely.
I think my issue initially with Ardak, and I think it's a great game, but my issue initially was like, oh, it's a deck building game, and it's like, well,
not really.
It has
Barely.
deck building in it, but I felt like I was kind of sold a false bill of goods, not by the designers or the publisher or anything like that, but by people showing me the game and talking up the game and everything. So it took me a little bit to kind of recover from that. I do think, because I like to compare this a lot to Dune Imperium. They both kind of came out at the same time. Arnak is sort of the friendlier version, but it's still really tight. I mean, the decisions are really tight and everything, but it's deceptively tight because it doesn't look like it should be, that punishing, and or that rewarding. Where I feel like Dune Imperium is like blatantly, we're just gonna beat you over the head, and if you make a bad decision, you're gonna feel it. Arnak, I feel like you can kind of fool yourself and be like, oh, yeah, I'm doing all right. Wait a minute, what are you doing? You got that?
But
well,
I also think that Arnak lends itself to multi-turn thinking, right? Like you can do this on this turn, it sets up for this for the next turn, and so that sets up for that for the next turn. So you can almost think multiple steps ahead. I'm not sure you can with Dune Imperium.
It's harder with Dune Imperium. Arnak is definitely a lot of planning, right? A lot of planning, and you're rewarded for that if you can do it well. You're rewarded for it.
It's
I love
funny.
games that allow me to just kind of chain as many actions as I can together before I ultimately pass for the round. That's just a really satisfying mechanic for me. And then back to Dune Imperium. Enjoy that game. It is an incredible use of multi-use cards. I am amazed that nobody had it in their top 5. I know that I like it more than these other two guys. I wasn't sure about Andrew. I've just cooled on it a lot because I haven't played it in a while. They've got newer versions that are supposedly better, and that frustrates me when I bought all the expansions of an old game because I'm not the guy that'll go track down everything for every game. I just think that's
Wait,
wasteful.
are you talking about Concordia or Dune Imperium?
Dune Imperium.
Oh, okay, just making sure. Yeah, I'm the coldest on
about?
Dune Imperium out of all of us.
I think it's a great game. It's just tight and it can also be really long.
Yeah,
Sure.
if someone gets to 8 or 9, it's going to take a long
Arnak
time.
between the two, and I think it's
Yeah.
all about personal preference. I think
Mhm.
people who love Dune Imperium, I don't blame them. It's a really beautiful game. It's set up very well. It has very cool attacky area control combos and stuff like that. I prefer the lighter theme and the friendlier theme.
What's funny is that when I took Gloomhaven off, I put 2.1 as Lost Ruins of Arnak. Then we sat there talking. I was like, oh, yeah, Path of Civ became 2.2. And I ended up going with Path of Civ and leaving Arnak off. So almost stole Mike's. Should have done it.
Yeah,
We wanna-
we want to recap, Bob. You're right.
Yeah. Good call, Tim. All right. My number 5 was Finspan. Number 4, Guards of Atlantis. Number 3, Dabawala. Number 2.2, Path of Civilization. And my number 1 was Defenders of the Realm.
Before
Great
Tim
job.
goes, by the way, in the chat, tell us who won. Who has the better top 5?
Ooh, I like this. I love it. I love it. Andrew's like, I like the friendlier version. Yet here
Yeah.
he is throwing
Yeah.
daggers.
Whose
Like,
list sucked?
let's
We
get
all know which
competitive.
one that is. I'm not going to say that. We're going for a winner, not a loser.
That's-
Yeah, okay.
that's
We won't,
right.
okay, we'll leave Mike out of this.
Oh shit. God, Andrew, like real quick, I gotta say, I was playing Take 5 over the weekend with some friends, and my son played and everything, and I was honest to God, like just thinking about like the awesome times we had playing that with you this summer at conventions, and just some great moments.
Sorry.
And you will be Andrew, and he's this very nice, guy, like, and then you start playing games with him, and man, the shit talk comes out, and it's like, yes, let's go.
Well, people bring that out of me, right? Like that was partly because it was you playing. That's part
That's
of it.
fair. That's fair. No, that's what I want. That's what I want. I got exactly what I wanted. I just have so many good like core memories from that game, like with you, and then just getting to play with other people and like pass that along, and see
I'm
them
so glad
have
I
a
got
great
to teach
time.
it to you too. That's a privilege for me.
Dude, I know it's an older game, but like I'm so like better late than never, right? When you're gonna get a game to the table like that, better late than never. All right, so my number 5 was Glory to Rome. That's for you, Evan. My number 4 is The Four Horsemen. Coincidence. My number 3 is Comic Hunters. My number 2 is Bloody Inn, and my number 1, despite what Mike says, is Wine Cellar, because those cards are multi-use. God damn it! And I do. That game has been beating For Sale to the table, much to my chagrin. So
For Sale is a BGG Hall of Famer, though, so that's a tall order to beat that out.
listen, man, I love that game, but the people have spoken, in my groups and in my circles. So
Glad. All right, so my number 5 was Innovation, another Kyle Chuddick. My number 4 was Beer and Bread, but I had to cross that out and drop in It's a Wonderful World in its place. My number 3 was Lewis and Clark. My number 2 was Maracaibo by Alexander Pfister. And then number 1, For a Shuffle Despite the Warts.
there you go, warts and all.
My number 5, Beer and Bread. Number 4, La Isla.
What up, Alan?
Number 3, Steampunk Rally. Number 2, Deus. And number 1, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I mean, all great games. I'd play all of these. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. I didn't really think of Concordia as a multi-use card game. I mean, it is consistently in my top 5, top 3, top 2 games of all time. Like, it is one of my all-time favorites. I think I just need to get it to the table again.
So
I keep
small,
trying.
Funny story here. Mike challenged me to a game of Concordia for the first time in 20 years that I played that game.
Ooh.
And I did not review the rules very well. So as I'm playing it, I'm like, God, this game is terrible. What am I doing? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It would help if you read the rules before you play. That would generally help.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
I never played Deus, and I get challenged by Mike and Donnie, and they proceed to whoop my ass at that game. I scored a couple of points.
At least,
smoked me.
you know what though? At least before I did that, I brought you into Discord and I taught you that game before we did that. So at least there's that.
Also, though, Donnie is a freaking shark, dude. You
Dude,
gotta
for real.
you gotta watch out for him. He's so quiet. He's so sweet and nice. He's just this friendly guy, just like Andrew. You get him at the table then, and it's like, whoa, like who's this dude? He's playing to win. Let's go.
He's also a lurker. I bet you he's been watching it.
I hope he is. He is. Well, Andrew, man, I'm just proud to be able to call you a friend. Appreciate you. Thank you for giving us your time, coming on and doing this with us. We're big fans. We're always excited and happy to see everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
And keep it up. Keep kicking ass. Can't wait to see you at the next convention.
Right.
Don't ever be a stranger.
I'll reciprocate a little. I love the growth that you guys have had with this channel. I think that, you've had setbacks and yet overcome them and become stronger. So I think you guys are also getting better at this every time you click on the mic and every time you get moving with it. So keep it up. And I love seeing new people find you. I think that's great. I like seeing those numbers just tick up a little at a time, every time.
Man, you and me both.
Yeah, from your mouth to God's
All right, so before we go, though, we get these a little bit. Before we go, give me your Oscar picks. What are the Oscar thoughts on these? Have you seen any of them? Have you seen some of them? Have you seen all of them?
Let me refresh on who's up for Best Picture, because they actually have some horror movies up this year, right? Which I thought was really interesting. I mean, the legit, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, really good, really solid.
Yep.
Movie. I don't know that it'll get any legit consideration, unfortunately,
because it's not edgy enough.
Yeah, well, I think they just go for Bugonia, right? Bugonia is a great movie, really weird.
Yeah.
But great. I think everybody should watch that. I thought Frankenstein was really good. Actually, I thought One Battle After Another is probably going to win, and I think that movie is a little overrated. I really enjoyed that movie, but I think it's a little overrated. I loved Sinners without apology. I thought Sinners was fantastic. Love what they were doing. I've not seen Train Dreams or Sentimental Value or The Secret Agent. So that's where I'm at. If Michael B. Jordan doesn't win for Sinners, though, it's a freaking crime, because he was absolutely stellar in a dual role. He could win Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor. But I see they got Delroy Lindo as Best Supporting, and he has one speech in Sinners that is Oscar worthy. When they're riding down the road and he's just telling that story. And but Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein is a great candidate as well. So that means neither of them will win, because I thought they were awesome. How about you, man? What are some of your big ones?
I have seen half of them, so I don't feel like I have a full thing yet, but I'm working on it. And to answer your question, Train Dreams is really good.
Okay.
It is probably the best cinematography of any of the candidates, at least as far as I can tell. The story is a little slow, but it's a perfect slice of life, olden-timey, just a guy surviving in the world in weird circumstances sometimes, but just it's like a comfort to see simple versus
Mhm.
everything having to be weird and complex, right? Like, so I think they
sure.
were really well done. One battle after another. The craftsmanship is spectacular. I thought the story was kind of bad. Like, as far as like, I didn't really care about the characters very much, and I didn't really care what happened to them because I didn't like them. So that's always been a problem for me with modern movies. Even though the acting is spectacular, the cinematography is very, very good, the dialogue is good, the action sequences are good. I mean, everything about the movie is good, but it doesn't make exceptional just by being good at everything, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I just think it's overrated. I think it's very watchable. I think it's a really good movie, but it's definitely not a best picture movie for me. Nobody's bad in it, but
So F1 we haven't talked about yet, and that one is just fun. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it feels a little bit like a modern Days of Thunder, but totally different. Like, but it has that feel to it. And so if you just want to have a good time in the theater or at your home, that's one to put on. I think Frankenstein is actually the most complete film of all these. It is the most complete story, the most concrete character building and story arc, and more exploratory in themes and understanding of people, and it also moves into different directions at different times. So for me, that's the most complete movie. I haven't seen Begonia yet. I haven't seen Hamnet. Those are all on my list of things to see, but those are my thoughts.
Begonia is wild. Check out Begonia, but try to not look at anything about it.
Yep, that's the way to do that.
Go in cold. I love going in cold. I really thought that the Frankenstein is one of the best iterations of that, and they include a lot. They do a lot with it. They ask interesting questions. The casting is really good, and it moves at a really good pace for everything that it does. You know, and it's got that Oscar bait, like great costume period, you know, and all of that, and these stellar performances. But it doesn't drag. It doesn't feel bloated. It doesn't feel pretentious to me. So yeah.
I'm still pulling for Sinners to win it, though, because I'd like to see a movie that is qualified as horror be considered the best film.
And it's
I'm not a horror guy. I don't like horror, but I also know that horror has been snubbed for so long that it'd be nice to have a win.
Sinners is legit really good, though. Yeah. I mean, it is really good. It'll probably win best song. You know, I think it'll win some stuff. I don't think it'll win best picture. Which is what I think it should win, but I'm looking now and I see that one of my favorite artists, Nick Cave, has a song in Train Dreams. So and he's up for an Oscar. So now I'm pulling for Nick Cave. Now I got to see Train Dreams,
and it's on Netflix. So if you have it, you can watch it tonight.
Yeah, I might do that. Well, there we go. We'll see who does what and everything. I rarely agree with the Oscars. I thought District 9 should have won years and years ago.
I mean, that's the thing. So should we do like an Oscars pick pool or something like that, though, for the board game rundown? Is that worth having? Oh, my
gosh. Is that on Sunday, though? How soon are the Oscars?
It's in March.
Okay, we got some time. Maybe we'll create a little poll and see what we can do. And yeah, Wayne was saying K-pop.
Oh, that was the announcement. Never mind.
K-pop Demon Hunters is definitely going to win Best Animated Feature.
March 15th.
For sure. No question.
And I haven't seen it yet, but my kids have, and they love it. But that was like a phenomenon. You know what I mean? Like, that was one of those things that, like...
And even if it's not for you, it's really well made, so that's good enough.
Yeah.
I will try to watch more of these movies. I did watch that Frankenstein movie. It was not bad. I do like me some...
March 15th. I finally found it. March 15th.
March 15th.
Yeah, March 15th. Sunday.
I love Mia Goth. I love Oscar Isaac. Jacob Elordi's growing on me, man. Like, he played Frankenstein's monster. He was really good.
Well, and also had Christoph Waltz, which is one of my favorites.
Christoph Waltz.
God, he was spectacular. Yeah,
he was really good. Even the captain of the ship, like in the Arctic.
Oh, that was a great scene too. That's what I'm saying. Like, that movie has all sorts of little notes and side notes that fill in the story in cool ways, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, the time jumps all really made sense. The storytelling really made sense. It was compelling. It was interesting. It just did so many things right without feeling heavy-handed, and you know.
The other thing is, when I finish watching a movie, my wife and I usually walk out of the theater or finish the movie, and we look at each other and go, do we need to discuss it? Like, sometimes you feel like, God, this movie was so, I'm not sure yet. I need to talk it out. I need to figure out how I feel about things. Then there are other ones you just walk out and you go, that was just great. That was just good. That's what I want to go to the movies for, right? Like, and Frankenstein for me was that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they really just, yeah. You can digest Frankenstein later and get into the themes, you know, and get into what's going on there as much as you want. But surface level, you could just watch it. It's a good ride and be fine. And I'd say Sinners is a little heavier, but man, goddamn, was Sinners so good. Like, I wanted to see Sinners so bad. I went and saw it in the theater by myself because I knew my wife wouldn't want to see it, and I didn't have any friends that were available at the time. And I'm like, I don't care. I want to see this in the theater. I want to, you know, and I have not regretted a second of it. Like, I was so glad.
I was the opposite, where people told me it was a horror movie. So in general, I just disregard horror movies. Like, really and truly, It's not my thing. I don't love it. If it's great, I need to see it. But it took enough people saying, this is good, this is good, this is like the sheer onslaught of people saying, go see it, go see it, go see it, meant that I had to see it. And when I did, I was like, this is not horror in that way that you think of, I think of horror, which is really cheap production, really terrible dialogue, character building is garbage, it's heavy-handed and gory and all those things. This is the opposite of what you expect a horror film to be, and that's great.
Yeah, no, I mean, the themes and what it talks about, you know, like any truly good horror movie, there's way more going on just beneath the surface, right? Those are the really good ones, are like icebergs. All the real horrors, like, just underneath. You know, are the vampires really the worst thing in Sinners? Like, when you watch Sinners, like, maybe not. No spoiler for Sinners. There's vampires in it. Everybody knows that.
I didn't know that.
All right, so Mike, I asked, are we going to have an Oscars pool? We gonna do a picks list or something?
You'd have to ask Tim that question. It is just not my forte, really.
Leave it on him,
I don't.
I'll see what I can put together. Really... I think it'd be fun to try to do something.
You can even just do a poll, and then everybody can pick in the poll, and then you can crack who wins by who picked in what poll, right? Like,
and who picked the most correct answers, right? Yeah. It's not that hard to do.
I did get to watch. I watched Frankenstein. I really enjoyed that one. And F1, yeah, like you said, it was fun. Those are the only ones I saw.
I can't believe F1 got nominated, though, is what was weird to me. But
to me, it felt like Top Gun Maverick, right? Like, Top Gun Maverick was a better movie, but because it was fun, because it had that thrill, that just kind of feel-good feel about it, the Oscars, I think, have started to be sensitive to the fact that people are getting angry at them for only picking feel-bad movies.
Oh, sure.
So it seems like they toss in one every year that's a feel-good. It's almost like a Ted Lasso film. What's the best one out there that's just feel-good, and we'll throw something on the fire so they can't just say we only pick the downtrodden, beat you up, make you feel like crap when you leave the theater movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. Again, I said it earlier, but they picked Forrest Gump over Pulp Fiction. Forrest Gump's a great movie, but Pulp Fiction's freaking iconic.
Yeah, but they've been making it up by picking all the really gruesome, brutal, hard-to-watch films ever since.
Yeah, I mean, they pick stupid things sometimes. Gladiator's a great movie. I forget what Gladiator beat out, but it shouldn't have won. It was a makeup award for Russell Crowe because he didn't win for The Insider, which is a superior movie, for different reasons, right? I mean, it's a completely different kind of movie. Scorsese should have won for Goodfellas. It took him till The Departed to win. It is what it is.
The problem is they always pick these films when half the people who vote on them have not seen all of them.
Also true. I
almost feel like you have to submit receipts to all the movie theaters you went to, and then you're allowed to vote for the
if you're an
Oscars.
Academy member, you have a responsibility. You know,
Really and truly. So that's one of the reasons why they pick it. And I don't think they do ranked choice voting, which I think would make a big difference. If you had to rank movies 1 through 10,
yeah,
the number 1 gets 10 points, number 2 gets 9 points, and so on, and then it's done by a total point score.
That's how they do the Heisman Trophy. Yeah, that's how they do the Heisman. That mostly works out, unless the dude ends up killing a bunch of people later on.
Yeah, you know.
Anyways, Andrew, you are always a delight, sir. I really appreciate you making time for us tonight. This was a great time and a good list, and I love talking to you, man.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate you guys.
Mike, Bob, you guys got anything to add before we sign off?
Andrew, will you be at Origins?
I will be at Origins, indeed, and you can count on me for some 4 a.m. playtesting.
Hell yes. We will be there.
Relative Space is coming out this year. Be on the lookout for that one. That's the classic story that we have from the Origins. That is
our origin story, Andrew, is Relative Space. And yeah. Eric gave us a hard time because he said that we like to heckle people at Gen Con events, and that is accurate. I do like to heckle people, especially my friends. The more I like you, the more I'm going to heckle you. So he got a pretty good heckling there. Yeah, man, can't wait till we get to see you. Andrew, please enjoy Tantrum Con. Get all those games in. Play as much as you can. Are you doing much pitching at a Tantrum, or are you just playing a lot of stuff?
I'm going to slip a couple of pitches in, but mostly this is to showcase 3 Tricky Pigs, showcase Wine Cellar, showcase Digging for Dinos, and to just kind of be part of the scene there. I just love it.
Right on. No, that's great. And remind all those people that your games showcase themselves. No. Just swing it around a little bit, just see what happens. But no, you're the best, man. Really glad that you're on here, and I'm really glad that you're our friend. I wish I could say the same for Mike and Bob, but they're here every week regardless. Bob's one of my oldest friends, so I will say all the horrible things that I can.
Yep. I probably deserve it.
Mike, unfortunately, has very quickly become one of my very good friends. So he also then gets into that shitstorm very quick. I know, it's terrible. Don't forget, everybody that was watching, we do have a Patreon if you'd like to support the show. But otherwise, just give us a thumbs up, drop a comment, let us know what some of your favorite multi-use cards in games are. We want to know. Prove us wrong. Tell us why we're right. All those things. What did we miss? And
also, who had the best list? Make sure you put that in there too.
And who had the best list? I think Trevor said he had the best list. His own list.
Yeah, he might be biased though.
That's fair. I'm definitely biased. I like my list. But yeah, man. So until next week, I'll just say for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim,
Bob,
Mike,
and Andrew.
Yes, we will see y'all next week. Thank you so much for watching.
Do you like to party?
I do like to party.
I also like to party.
I like to party.
A 7.3.
This is a great party.
Repeating.
We should party more often.
I do like to party.
Okay.
I also like to party. I also like to party.
I like to party. I like to party.
We should party more often.
Okay.
This is a great party.
Okay.